Hey there, how you doing today? Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever time you're watching this. Welcome back to Zach Harry's Corner. And if you're watching us for the first time, if you're joining us for the first time, I'm Zach Harry, the host of Zach Harry's Corner. It's nice to have you. If you have not subscribed, please do that. And then also click the bell icon so that we can notify you, or YouTube can notify you when we make new posts. Okay, so today's going to be a very short video, kinda, because we're going to be tying up, I hope, the discussion that we started about two videos ago. The link to that video will be somewhere on the screen, so you can watch them. But today we're going to be dealing with something, more conclusive, right? Right. So before we go on, please, our Telegram platform is really alive. People are posting comments. A parent commented this week. It was bomb. If you want to know what they said, please join our Telegram platform, and then you see. So we're gonna be talking. Sorry, please, just don't mind the background noise. Don't mind the background noise. All right. So one of the things that popped up on our Telegram platform this week was somebody asked a question about correcting your parents and not correcting your parents, and then the parent answered. Yes, the parent answered, and then I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to be talking. Okay, what we're talking about today. The title of the video is "Dear Parents," right? We're talking about the things that parents do that sometimes probably they don't know, but those things have adverse effects on their kids. That does not, it doesn't sit well with children, or things that parents do that affect their kids adversely. So there's a list. I have a list of 5 things that most parents might not even be aware is kind of not good. And then the first one is demeaning or comparing, intentionally or otherwise. Now, sometimes some parents will compare you with your mates. Some parents do it. Some parents do that a lot. And then, yes, I'm sweating. People should do sharp and send money for AC. Anyway, some parents do that a lot. They can be demeaning, and sometimes they make you feel less of, they kind of relate with you through the lens of another person. They use another person's marking script for you. Like, they're like, are you not seeing your mates? Are you not seeing so? Sometimes they even compare you with one of their friends' children, or just to make you feel like you're not a useful human being. That's not the point. Actually, that's not why they do it. But I feel like some parents should stop doing that. Do not compare your child to another person. It makes us feel bad. And then sometimes it's not even outside the family. You can be comparing the second born to the first born. Can't you see your older brother? As much as you should use, they should be challenged by how good their siblings are. There's a better way to do it, and it's not just outrightly condemning them and comparing them and demeaning them. It doesn't really yield the best results. Not all of them will eventually take up challenge and say, okay, because I'm being compared with this person, I'll be a better person. Sometimes they just switch off. It doesn't really work. So number one thing, comparing and demeaning children intentionally or otherwise. Parents should stop doing that. Stop doing that. Second thing is yelling. Yelling. For those of us that are, that prefer the shouting. Don't shout at them. You don't always have to scream at the top of your voice. If you can avoid it, please do. Just talk to them. Make them feel respected. Make them feel like you respect them. You understand? Don't shout at them. Sometimes when you shout at kids, they get this idea that like say myself I have to. Sometimes it can be you the way the mind of kids work is just peculiar. So don't yell at them. Yelling is not really the best way to pass a message across. Trust me. Some kids, once you yell, so sometimes parents should, and I feel like most parents are too proud to admit that they need help parenting, and you do. Because at the end of the day, your child will not become what you are trying to make them become. So that means your parenting skills need to be questioned. Somebody has to say it. You're not as good as a parent, or as good a parent as you think you are. You need to learn some things. Don't yell. Some parents have been able to achieve good behavior in their kids without really yelling. Read books on parenting. Yes, you. You need it. So don't yell. Don't yell at them. There are other ways to tell them what to do without, obviously without necessarily yelling. You get. So I'm trying to be short on this point because I don't want to overstretch one to make it seem like I have a bias. Third thing, is neglect. neglect. Things that parents do that affect their kids adversely is neglect. I was coming from town the other day. I think I was driving. I was the one driving. That's why it really hit me. I was driving and I saw a kid on the road. There was it's a street in between the houses. Street. I don't know how to explain it. The street is in between houses. So there's there's there are apartments on this side of the road, there are apartments on this side of the road. So the kid obviously wanted to cross to the other side, and then I was driving, and then the kid just entered the road, like the kid just entered the road like that, and I was like, why is this kid's mom? Then I saw a woman. She was this is true life story. She was standing right there and was looking at the kid. The kid crossed. A toddler could barely walk, and then she ran like that, staggered across the street. And then a bike man was just, very tense. I was not speeding, so I got to see everything well. Only for me to see the woman that I thought was going to, be concerned. I just saw that she was just sieving water, the dirty part of her gari. That's what she was doing. She was looking at Jada and she was sieving dirty water off gari. For those of you that drink your gari like that you sieve the water off, that's what she was doing. And I was like, what? These things are bad. This child is going to grow up with a false sense of independence, and then that's what's going to lead to something else. I'm like, how on earth would you allow a baby cross the road on their own without even people they try? So neglect, please. Do not neglect your children. Don't especially, and it doesn't really have to be that kind of neglect. Some of you have, kids that want your attention, but you're not ready to give it to them. You prefer to, whenever they come to you and you're busy, be like, don't worry, I'll talk to you later. You just keep shutting them off like that. Very soon they'll start talking to somebody else, and then God help you, that person is not a child of God. So do not neglect your kids. Anyhow, any way you go do them, anyhow you're going to do it, please make sure that you give your kids the attention that they deserve. Okay, another thing that parents do that have adverse effect on their kids is they never stop looking at their kids as babies. It's difficult for parents to come to terms with the fact that their kid is grown up. 17, 16, 18 is grown up. We're not in your age where you were 30 before you grew up. Now, people grow up like that. So, parents should be able to come to terms with the fact that my kid is I'll post a link to a video that I saw on YouTube that might help you help explain this. I'll post the link somewhere here. Yes, I can do that. I'll post it somewhere here. See it right about now. So you can really check how to let go of that baby view you have of your child. They're not going to be babies forever. And then tendencies are some parents are still looking at somebody who's looking for expression as an adult as a baby. So the way you treat them, the way you respond to them sometimes is kind of condescending. That's how they see it, especially teenagers. I'm not saying you should give them freedom that is beyond their understanding, but at least let them know that you value their opinion too. Don't just shut them off all the time. They're not babies. And that's why I noticed parents like their children more when they were babies. Now that they are grown and have beards and they have an opinion, you don't like them again because you can't control them the way you wanted to. So it's really a big thing. Don't always look at them as babies. All right, the last thing on my list, which I might spend some time dwelling on, is to denying kids freedom. See, let me explain something. If you have a child and you neglect or you deny them freedom for too long, they will start craving it. And when they crave freedom, when people who crave freedom eventually get freedom, what they do with it is not nice. That's why you see some people, once they get into high institution where they live on their own, once they attain that first level of freedom, they misbehave big time. Like all the mistakes they should have made from 5 to 20, they make it in 2 months. All the mistakes they could have made. This is the problem. If you hoard freedom, you keep them from being free. There are healthy levels of freedom you should allow them have. Even from ages of 5 or allow them freedom of choice. Don't just paint that room a color because you want it that way. If you are, financially buoyant enough to actually paint that room. Don't just paint it any color. Give them, what do you want? What do you feel? What do you think about this? It's a very healthy way to train your kids. freedom of opinion. Let them be able to talk. If your kid cannot talk to you, you are doing a bad job. Who do you want them to talk to? You're doing a bad job. You're 0/20, whatever the score grade is. So do not deny them freedom. Opinions, let them have their opinions. Let them have their choices. These two things are important. Like I said, a kid that is not given the right access to or the right level of freedom at certain stages of their life will tend to misbehave when they finally get the freedom they so crave. And this is one of the major, a lot of things we can talk about that parents that affect their children adversely. So one of them is also, this is just off the books, talking ill about about your spouse to your kids. Women do this a lot, complaining about your husband to your children. I know you guys have issues, but it's not really helping the kid. And then other way, vice versa, the man complaining about his wife to the kids. It doesn't work. You're not helping these kids. So back to what I was saying, freedom. Please work on giving them some level of freedom. Let them pick. They want to go and see their friends. Let them go. One day, they will have the freedom to do these things, and then they will not have learned how not to. I'm not saying they should learn by making grave mistakes and all that, but if you keep them from having access to all that they should learn at early stages of your life, you'll be the one to pay the price at the end of the day. So yeah, give them freedom, and at the end of the day, you'll be glad you did. Because if the effects of lack of freedom start opening, because most of the things I see teenagers or young people do nowadays, especially when they have that first taste of freedom, it goes to show that you have been free in your life. Is it? So because today nobody's going to accost them for coming late, they enter their rooms 1 a.m. I'm like, what? So that is how bad it can be. So please give them freedom. Let them be free. Let them be able to air their opinions. It's very, very important. I can't really overemphasize this. Freedom. Parents, learn to give your kids a healthy level of freedom. That's how they know you trust them. Kids are not as dumb as you think they were. Remember when you were a child, you were not as dumb as your as your mom and your dad made it seem. I know that if I touch it, it will burn me. I know. I'm just kidding now. All right. So what I'm trying to say is there's a healthy level of freedom that parents should give their children. So I'll go over the 5 things again. First thing that parents do that really have adverse effect on their kids is to compare and to demean, intentionally or otherwise. Don't compare them with another kid. Don't demean them. Don't make them feel stupid because somebody else is doing okay. They're fine. They probably catch up. They might just be a slower learner. Second thing that parents do is to yell. Don't yell. Don't shout at them. Don't scream. It can ruin a child's psyche. I'm telling you, shouting, everything, shout. Very soon, the only way you'll be able to communicate is to shout. And then, God forbid, you cannot shout again. Something happens to you can't shout again. I'm just kidding. Don't yell at kids. It has a psychological effect on them. At anybody, in fact. In fact, you shouldn't even yell at your wife, let alone your child. That's really bad. Neglect. That's the third thing. Number 3, neglect. Do not neglect your kids. Give them the attention they deserve as kids, as children. They deserve attention. If you're not going to give them attention, leave them in heaven. Don't bring them here if you're going to neglect them. So give them attention. Give them attention. Do not neglect them. Number 4 is stop looking at them like babies. They're not babies. They're growing. They're not always going to be babies. In fact, prepare your mind now. If you have a baby now that you're so in love with, oh, cute, chubby cheeked, very soon he's going to have beards too. He's going to be demanding some things. Prepare yourself for that. They're not always going to be babies. Stop looking at them as babies when they're no longer babies. You get what I'm saying? Learn to draw the line. I'm going to post a video up here somewhere. You're going to see it. It's there somewhere. All right. It's a YouTube video I came across that really explains the extent to which parents can ruin their relationship with their kids just by refusing to see them as more than babies. It's a very, very powerful. I feel every parent that sees this should watch that video. This video, the link is there again. All right. So lastly, to deny them a level of freedom, to deny them freedom. There's a healthy. I'm not saying you should let your children do whatever they like, but there's a healthy level of freedom that you should have to air their opinions, air their choices. See, what you want to do as a parent is to get your child to see why they are doing what they are doing, not just to get them to do it. Do it because I said it's right. We know it's right, but if they don't learn why, the very opportunity they have to stop doing it, they will. So you will learn that in that video. If you watch it, please watch it. It blessed me. It will help you. Don't just tell them to do it. Don't just make them do things. Let them see why they're doing it. So yeah, these are the 5 things I just felt like I should talk about today, about things that parents do that affect their kids adversely. These 5 I feel are kind of, very, very, very easy to just neglect. You won't know that you're doing it, or you won't know that what you're doing is wrong until you probably listen to this video and think about it, or watch this video. Watch this video and think about it. So thank you very much for joining us today. It was nice talking to you guys. The next video will be out in a week's time as usual. Please, if you've not joined our Telegram platform, the bulk of the work, the bulk of the discussion and the opinions and the fun happens on the Telegram platform. So please join our Telegram platform by clicking on the link. The link is always below. Join our Telegram platform, and then I'm sure you'll have a good time. Thank you very much. Do have a lovely week. Bye-bye.